Hey guys, welcome back to week 2 of State of the Server. Today we got quite a long conversation with 6pool, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Two things to make note of: down in the description below I have a link to the player draft that is going on this week, being pulled on Friday, as well as the server vote link that you can go and vote for our server on a serverless website, Minecraft MP, so that way we can get some free advertisement up there and get some players on the server. Keep in mind, I'm not currently rolling with Minecraft footage right now, just because for whatever reason my computer is struggling to record Minecraft, but it can record other things just fine. If you guys want to start submitting stuff, that way I can really start throwing in player made videos. I think that would be kind of cool to have over our podcast, is just b-roll footage. Until then, I'm just going to continue to upload stuff that I can at least pull successfully myself. That way you don't have to sit there at a blank screen or just a picture of something while you listen to us talk. So sit back, enjoy the podcast. Don't forget the 2 links down below in the description, and stay tuned for the rest of the podcast. Alright guys, I'm here with 6pool, and we're going to go over some stuff that we've been talking about from earlier in the week, preparing for the podcast. I know he had some questions prepared, and I'll let him fire those off now.
Well, starting with the question.
Yeah, it's always best to start with questions, because they make the best discussions.
Very true. So, when is Evil Minds going to come back? And Evil Tower?
So our PvP event that you guys are familiar with, Evil Tower, Evil Minds, we are currently building. And then there will be a couple plugins made for it, and then it'll release shortly thereafter once we test it. So probably with the current priorities set up we have now, map 2.
So are we getting like both Evil Tower and Evil Minds, or just one?
Evil Tower will come first. If we decide to do both or a variation of another PvE style event, that will come following, but we may have 2 on the same map.
Okay, so is it going to be like the same type of thing, like Evil Tower? Just like rush through like mobs and like parkour and get to the top?
It's going to have a traditional Evil Tower sense to it, but it's also going to be up to the ante on difficulty, as well as we're going to have some plugins affecting it instead of just the kind of base vanilla Minecraft game that you guys are used to playing in the old Tower version.
Okay. Is it going to double as a PvP arena, or is the DTR / Deathband going to only be in the Evil Tower part?
So that's actually currently up for decision by the team. We haven't really thought out as much on if we want to do that. It kind of depends on how people are using it. It's kind of like a test thing. If we decide it's being used in a way we don't want it to be used, we'll make changes. But we haven't explored that option too much yet.
Okay, what are your opinions on making a 1v1 arena, like a gladiatorial style arena?
I'm not
that people can go to. That there's no jumping or anything. It's just 1v1.
Right. I'm not opposed to it at all. We'd have to obviously get the construction of it underway and probably devise out. You probably could do it in vanilla Minecraft. We haven't addressed the 1v1 arena yet. We know it's on our radar. It's just not something that's on the highest priority, because people seem to, for the most part, kind of do them on their own. Obviously, I know this was something that I think was in a map way before I even started playing, like early single-digit maps. There was a Coliseum of some sort.
Yeah, there was. I've seen videos of it.
Right, and I'm familiar with, for example, on map 10, people would just go to Koth in 1v1, because it was I think for the first half of the map, it was always death ban, or no death ban. So people would go there in 1v1 for the no death ban, and that's how people usually went about doing it. I'm not opposed to it at all, and I don't think anyone else would be. It's just not something that we have high up on our list, so we haven't addressed it a lot.
So, what are your opinions on Koth loot? Because right now, I think it's kind of boring, honestly.
So we're going to overhaul our Koth loot, because to be honest, right now, it's garbage. It's not set up right. It's really quite dated, and it's just not where we want it to be. It's not as rewarding as it should be. So that is on our list of things to do actually in the coming weeks, if not week.
Right. Can I offer some suggestions on that?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you played Koei, I forgot, but Koei basically had their Koth loot is extremely rewarding. You could get like higher lootings and higher fortunes. You could get like a higher sharpness, but I don't like that. I don't like that personally. So I think that going forward, you guys should go for more of like a, like say you can get fortune 4s or fortune 5s, or maybe like depth strider 4s and 5s, or feather falling, 5, 6, and 7. And instead of going for like a PvP aspect, go for more of just like a utility aspect.
Right, and that's what we've
Or
discussed, actually, believe it or not, that you're saying. That's really funny. That's part of our overhaul that we're going to be doing to the loot system. We'll be doing the kind of one above enchantable for you guys anyway, for like the the looting and a couple of the other enchants, but then things like feather falling we could bump up several times. Yeah, I agree with you, and I think most of the other admins will, in the fact that upping sharpness kind of is a little game breaking, in the sense of we always try to keep it as fair of grounds as possible when fighting two players. So I think the sharpness will stick away from, the power on bows will stick away from, but the utility will go after a little bit more.
what do you think about knockback?
I haven't really explored knockback personally in 112. I know it was really kind of messed up before. Knockback 2 wasn't awful. Knockback 1, I remember you could do that infinite combo thing with, or whatever, which was really messed up. I haven't revisited it since. I'm not opposed to it, and I can definitely put it on our radar.
So Guru made a comment, I think it was Guru in Courts, like a few weeks ago, talking about how Haste 2 mining negatively affects the server. Do you have any opinions on that, or do you know how your team stands on that?
So it's about 50-50. Some people want to see it gone. Some people want to see it stay. My opinion on it is, don't have it included in miner. Have it included in pots. So I'd rather see like a haste 2 potion that someone has to manage, instead of a 100% all the time I've got iron on, so I've got haste 2. I think that'd be a fairly balanced way to handle it.
So are you going to make this kind of like a being able to brew or buy at spawn?
We discussed that when we were talking about the pot option. We discussed being able to sell it at spawn. It really depends on like the very little economy we do have, how that looks at the time, and what else we're selling in spawn. So like if we're selling Dragon's Breath in spawn, then we'll be selling those pots in spawn. If we're not, then we probably won't. We'll probably stick away from it.
Yeah, I think making the ability to brew it would be a lot cooler, because it feels more rewarding when you actually like do something to get an item, rather than just like go to spawn and buy it.
Agreed. And personally, I'm more on that of find the resources and brew it yourself and manage it all on your own, than let me go pay for my haste with the diamonds I mine.
Yeah, completely. I think that's the right way to go.
But there's, the flip side to that would be, I'm going to buy all these haste 2 potions, and if I don't meet a certain quota while using them, then I lost out. It either way would be interesting to me. So it's really something we'll just talk about more.
Alright, so classes. Do you all have any, are you thinking about making any new classes ever?
Obviously, we don't want to do wizard.
Never again.
Never
please,
again wizard.
Never again.
It's not something that we've turned our back to. It's just more, we haven't put a ton of thought into it. But like I've said to a lot of people in the past, we're really open to most things, if we can get them fleshed out, whether that be with the help of other staff members or with people from the community. I know we talked the other day and you mentioned something about you had some class ideas and how they would work. And we'd love to hear those. And that way we can kind of explore that a little bit more, add a little bit more variety to the server.
So what do you think about a tank class? Because right now there's like Archer, it's kind of like a DPS class. Rogue is kind of like an assassin support class. Bard is like the generic support class. So what do you think about adding like a tank class to the game? it's able to like soak damage for the team.
Right. I'm not opposed to the idea. The only concern of mine would be it'd be hard to make it not OP with the current setup. So if we did a tank class, it would have to do just about as much damage as Bard does.
Yeah,
and
that's what I was thinking.
I mean, the fights in the server aren't like there's no burst really. I mean, there's a little bit of burst with Rogue and a little bit of burst with Archer, but your generic diamond on diamond fight, there's not much burst. It's a battle of endurance more or less. To see who better manages their pots, who manages their terrain better, how you manage when you throw your pearls. And granted I haven't PvP'd in a while, but at the core of what I remember.
Oh, you're
yeah, right. So I believe that's pretty on par with it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not opposed to the idea of a tank class. It just wouldn't feel like it would do a whole lot and be able to be balanced with the current setups we have, just due to the fact that, in all honesty, diamond class is already pretty tanky in the sense that it's not a matter of how much damage you can deal in a certain time frame. It's a matter of, okay, how am I managing my pots and my loadout?
So how I see it is, it's kind of like, when I think tank, I think League of Legends, I think peel. So adding like a tanky class that can peel would be kind of cool. Like when you're one DTR about to go raidable, in this, whatever armor it would be, comes in, peels these guys off of you, stops the damage coming to you.
Right.
Stuff like that would be cool. And right now with Bard not really being so good, and Archer and Rogue are really good at securing kills, having like a class to counteract that would be kind of cool.
Right, absolutely. And I think just throwing an idea out there for shits and giggles, really thinking, whatever armor setup you'd have, and then whatever buffs you'd have for that class. But I'm just sitting here thinking, he's got a big ass shield in one hand and like a 0 damage, but knockback 2 sword in the other or something like that, or like an ability that allows him to kind of do what you said with peeling people off. I don't know if there's not really a way to taunt players. I know that's a big thing in a lot of tank kits and across multiple styles of games. But I think we could make it work in the sense that it would just be like, let me get in your face and obstruct your view and get away from my friends, basically. And I think that's something that's definitely possible to accomplish. So definitely something I can bring up as well.
When I was thinking about classes, I was thinking about have you played Annihilation before on Shoppo?
I played it briefly when it came out.
So I'm not sure how many classes there are now, but when I played a lot, there were like 10 or so, and one of the classes you could like snare people kind of. So having something like that would be kind of cool. And there's actually like a lot of really neat stuff that's on Annihilation that you could like incorporate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I know what you're talking about. It kind of rooted them in place for a second.
So stuff like that is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like being able to apply slowness to like right click something to apply slowness to enemies near you.
Right, and it would kind of be if you think of Bard as a utility to your attackers, it would be kind of a defensive utility class in that sense. And knowing Guru and how he created all the other effects for the other classes, I'm sure he'll have no problem figuring that out for a tank class if we decide to go down that route.
Yeah, seeing Bard really inspired me. Just seeing like the how you can pull players to you and stuff. It seems like Guru has a handle on how to flesh out a class and give it like an identity.
Right, and he has a lot of ideas going forward with that, and we're just trying to get them in a good place and make sure they actually work with Minecraft. That was a big problem we noticed, with the Archer. When we were testing some stuff out with Archer before the test map, we wanted to see if we could make bows fire with a higher velocity if you do a certain spell of some sort. Mm-hmm. So it'd be more like a sniper instead of a arc shot, like it normally is. Minecraft has limitations. We upped the velocity, and the arrow would literally shoot at a 45-degree angle from where you're looking. No idea why. Or we got to the point that the velocity wouldn't even show the arrow. You were shooting blanks. They did damage, but the entity never showed up. Yeah. So Minecraft has some limitations. So it that's why some things take a while, especially with the classes, because of those limitations to figure out, okay, what can we do? Okay, what can we do that Minecraft will allow us to do?
Yeah, I that's very true. But I mean, it seems like you guys can still do quite a lot,
Oh, absolutely.
and a lot of cool stuff can be done.
That is the
All right,
plan.
what else do I got here? Are there any new PvP events that will be out soon? Soon as in this map.
Hopefully. We actually are discussing some events from the past, as well as some events that have never been seen. We'd like to try to get them out as soon as possible so people can get playing them. That is our goal all the time. But things come up that would hinder us from doing so, but is definitely on the forefront of our mind, is getting more events out to the players. So our goal can be, if you have, an overlapping event at all times of the day, you can make the decision to, if I want to partake in this, you always have a reason to be out of your base. Okay, if there's a Koth and a care package going on, what do I want to do? Do I want to go for Koth and the care package? Do I want to hit the care package and not go for Koth? If we can have a third event, okay, do I even want to take part in Koth? Do I want to just pick up the care package and go hit that third event? Stuff like that, to give players not only the reason to be out of the base, but the option to make decisions once they are.
So, for specific, do you think that we talked about this last night? The old tower control events. If Guru still has the code for that, do you think we could see that this map?
Hopefully. We actually started exploring that a little bit today as an option to do. I know there was a lot of issues that he brought up with us when we talked to him earlier about it that the player side may not have seen before, and we want to try to figure out how to appropriately balance it, but it is definitely something that we'd be interested in doing.
Okay, and what about a capture the flag type of event?
So I actually pitched a capture the flag event to the community, I think just in a Discord message at one time, as well as to the staff team, and essentially it would work similarly to how the care package is right now, except it would spawn a banner, and then the player would pick up the banner and the player would get one debuff. Haven't decided what kind of debuff. Can't pearl, longer pearl cooldown, can't go above speed 1, something like that. Weakness 2, something to, okay, you're the flag carrier, but you're going to be hindered by it just a little bit. And so, I played an MMO called Elder Scrolls Online, and in the PvP section of the game, there was something called flag running, or is scroll running technically, but it's essentially a flag. And there's mounts in the game, and you can't mount if you have the scroll. And you just had to run, so everyone was buffing you with speed and everything else because you couldn't mount, so you're not going to go nearly as fast as every other player can without spells. So essentially, we'd want it to be something like that. If you're the flag carrier, you get debuffed a little bit. That's part of being the flag carrier, but that's part of how it's a little bit strategic with your team. Your team needs to be with you. There's got to be a lot of strategy and teamwork done to secure that capture. And essentially what you would do is the flag would randomly spawn out in the map. You'd go capture the flag, and you'd have to run it back to spawn. And once you get into spawn, it would cap.
That's really cool. And you could redeem your spawn loot, like you redeem it at spawn and it gives you loot.
Correct.
Okay.
It'd either hit when you went into spawn, or it would we'd have a sign or some sort of interface in spawn for players to be like, okay, I'm redeeming this now.
Okay, that's cool. So talking about kiting things to spawn, what is your opinion on the spawn tag and it being removed from when you hit someone they get tagged? Was that intentional? I'm confused about that.
So, just because I haven't gone off and smacked a couple people online right now, so you're saying when you hit somebody, the person you hit got tagged?
Last map, yeah, and the past HCF maps, but Guru got rid of this map, or he got rid of it last map apparently, but it was not re-added this map.
I think it was a short 6-second tag, if I remember correctly.
It was 3 seconds or 2 seconds. It was really short, but it kept someone from just running in and out of spawn, or
right.
being able to just instantly kite to spawn.
I'm not entirely
So
sure on that. I know the only thing I ever heard about it when it was in was people upset about it. So that may be why it was taken out, but it's something we can definitely revisit.
okay, it's personally from my experience, we had people trapped in the end during Palace, and they were able to just run, just they ran straight into spawn because we couldn't really like keep them tagged or anything. So either the in spawn should be changed, like the exit part, like iron doors or something, or the spawn tag should be reintroduced.
Right. And that's definitely
Yep.
something I can address even today. If we don't have a combat tag for being hit and taking damage by it from another player, then we should probably make it harder. And I definitely agree with that. It should be a little bit harder to just exit. Because at that point, if I remember correctly from being a player, going in the end was essentially Russian roulette. If you went in and there's someone there, oh shit. Because it was hard to get out if someone was there. Excuse me, hitting my mic. And if no one was there, you just ran through and you're good to go. But as of right now, it sounds like you're in, you're out, because even if someone hits you, you can still get out for free. So that's definitely something we'll want to change. We'll make the end portal exit actually more difficult until that gets re-implemented, if it gets re-implemented. If not, then the end portal exit will just stay that way.
Alrighty. Sounds good to me. Another thing I wanted to touch on was how the current player base is kind of toxic, and how, as an admin, how you could help stop that. I wanted to know if you had any ideas or anything to discuss about that.
Right. And at the end of the day, we're going to do everything we can to keep people from harassing each other, but we have zero control of players and what they say outside of what we can control. I know that sounded redundant, but if it's not our Discord, if it's not our server, if it's not our Reddit, if someone's going to do something, we can't do a whole lot about it. All we can do is continually enforce our policies that we do have in place to lower the toxicity. But unfortunately, that is a lot of the community right now. It's a very toxic community. And the only way to change that is, personally, I think the community needs to rise up against it and make the change themselves versus the admins. Because if the admins, in my opinion, come out and say, try to cure the toxicity, while it looks good to the people who are not toxic, the people who are will just be enforced to do that much more. And especially to troll and try to get everyone under everyone's skin. Because at the end of the day, the people who are being toxic are pretty trolly. And, trolls, if you feed the troll, they're just going to keep eating. So I think that's one of the things that if the community can kind of rise up in the past, like in the past, that's happened. If you incited in the past, you were shunned by everybody. Like no one wanted to talk to you. No one liked you. You were pretty widely shunned. And that had a pretty big effect on people and how they behaved.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
So it's I think that comes down to player politics. Obviously, if someone's harassing someone or someone's, being a bigot or racist or anything like that, we'll take care of it. But outside of that, toxicity will have to be on player politics to resolve.
So I get what you mean. I think when I was posing the question, I didn't mean like just people saying racist shit in chat or people just being assholes. But when you have like a player base like we have right now, I think a lot of people are casually toxic, or they don't really like think about it. They just like say things that are kind of mean. So I think a way to cure that is to just like have more events where people can just like talk to each other and just like hang out. And I think a way to fix that is just be like, hey, come hang out in the HCF Discord. We're doing an egg together. Or, hey, we're doing this. Having more things where like the admins encourage people to, work together or just to like chill kind of helps the toxicity is what I've noticed.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We can definitely do that more. I know since the server pop has been down, that hasn't been going on as much, but that's definitely something that absolutely, if it definitely helps and you guys recognize that helping people and helping the toxicity of the community, we 100% can get behind that.
I think I had one more. Yeah, okay. So this is something that I'm not sure if you'll like it or not. But it's an idea I've had for a long time.
Yeah, shoot.
So it's another thing that kind of comes from my Mindsy upbringing and my helping make Annihilation. I had this idea for HCF. So I kind of feel like when you cap Palace, no one even looks at the loot. Like no one cares. I think when we cap Palace, like when I was in Zion, this map, we got like slime balls. I think maybe a few diamond block, but it was just like we didn't care because you care about Palace for the Palace loot. So I had this idea. I think some other servers have done this, but it was kind of more boring. Where they put like, oh, you get a if the kit's sharp 3, oh, you get a sharp 4 sword for capping conquest. And it's cool because you get a sword no one else has. But I kind of want HCF to go in that direction where you cap the big event, you get something cool, but in kind of like a different way. Did you play Mindsy?
I played a little bit.
You played a bit.
Yeah.
You played a bit, right? Did you play during the legendary swords and stuff?
I was familiar with what they were, but I never like had one.
So in Mindsy, and specifically what I'm talking about is Annihilation, you could get these legendary swords. And in Annihilation, around 15 minutes, these golems spawned. And you could kill the iron golems, and they would drop a legendary sword. And the swords are really cool. I think you'd only get like one per round, or at least individual one. And they had different effects. So what I'm posing is, you cap Palace, you get this legendary weapon. It could be a sword, could be an axe, could be a bow. It does a special effect. And it's one of a kind, only one per week. And it's like a weapon that it does something cool. It isn't just, oh, it has 1 sharpness over, or it has fire aspect. But like it has a chance to inflict poison too, could slow your enemy. Something like that.
Right.
When you make stuff that's more thematic, people get more into it. So, you go into a fight, and especially being that you kill someone with it, and it has a really cool death message, like it's like red text or something. That hypes people up. Like, okay, did you play map 19 when XVS Lol had his 100 kill sword?
I did not.
I was banned that map. When he died with that sword, I was still hype. I was only banned for the first week. He had a 120 kill sword, and he finally got killed by the rebellion guy. And they made this like big video of like burning his sword. But when you have a cool sword and you're killing people with it, people focus you and they want to get that sword from you. But if it's actually like a sword that does damage and does like actual cool abilities, people are going to be so much more hyped to fight and like fight back and kill that person. And it starts this kind of like narrative in the game where like, yeah, you want to win the fight, but you also want to get this sword from this person.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there was an idea I had actually back about map 15 that I pitched that was similar to that. It was like a unique item in the game that you get for doing a certain event, and there could only ever be one of them at a time. That kind of runs in line with that, so it adds a lot of value to it, to that item and to fighting, and actually promotes raiding and camping and everything else that you just don't really see anymore. So that, that is a phenomenal idea that I personally think a lot of people would enjoy. It wouldn't be over the top. If it's a sword, let's say it's an axe. Let's say it's an axe that does like a wave of damage, a cone of damage kind of deal. Obviously, you don't want to make a max durability axe to give to someone for their cone of damage.
Yeah.
But you can make the weapon, make it have limited amount of use, and then those people use it sparingly, but they still use it, and people want it, so people go after it. Like you said, a sword of slowness. Like, that's a great weapon. It'd be a phenomenal weapon. Obviously, we wouldn't want any of these swords to be repairable, because that would get a little bit OP.
You want to keep it where they're not like for example, Mindsy. You get a legendary weapon, you end up not using it because you don't want it to break. you want it to be where people are going to use it. Like, it's not like really low durability.
No,
But
probably not super low. Probably about
one
half.
thing is, you don't put sharpness on it. You make it, well, unless it's like specifically for, only fight with this sword.
Right.
But you have a sword that inflicts slowness and has a very high chance of inflicting slowness. You put this on your second slot and you swap to it to deal slowness damage to them. Or like you said, like a cone of damage. So you're already going to use it sparingly because it doesn't have sharpness. So you're like enforcing that without putting low dura on it. But if it's an item that you can only get once a week and it's completely unique, you want to keep it at a high durability but not repairable. So people actually use it, it can change hands, stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
putting it in a low durability will keep people from using it.
Right. The balancing options of that is definitely up on the table that we could talk about. But I think the idea at its core is something that I could definitely see us implementing.
Cool.
And I don't know if you wanted to touch base on the draft map at all.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any questions?
I personally don't, unless there's something that I can do as staff to make the draft map go off easier for you guys. I know a lot of it's kind of player driven, so I don't know how much I can really do.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about that. What I want to get with the draft is I want it to be completely player driven. The pinning it on Reddit was like the most I needed. I kind of want to do something just for the player base, and so we as the player base can kind of say, hey, we want to play HCF. And I did you play when Stabbed did his draft map?
I think I was a watcher.
So I was not in it. I did not participate in the draft. I made my own faction. And because it was admin enforced, a lot of people didn't play. And a lot of people broke the rules and got banned. And I made Stabbed raidable completely legitimately, and he got his base refunded, and he got his base rolled back because he claimed that I had raided his faction from the inside. And I feel like when you put those heavy limitations and those you go raidable, you get your base back, it kind of loses the charm and loses the value of the game. So what I want is we're just gonna do it completely player hosted. And if you get drafted by a faction that you don't like and you don't join, you're kind of lame for doing that, but you're not going to get banned for it. It's completely up to what you value in yourself. Like if you're mature and you're like, yeah, I'm going to play with these guys, cool, good on you. But if not, that's completely your choice. You're not going to get banned for it. And I want this just to be about players making decisions for themselves, really.
Right, yeah, and I think that's one of the most fun things I ever experienced was the player politics, and that's what that is. It's player driven. It's people, you're seen in a certain light by the way you behave in your community, and the consequences, I think, if they come from the other players, it should be a good thing. I think us staying out of it, as far as getting involved because someone felt cheated or because someone incited someone on a draft map and that's not supposed to happen, I think the more we stay out of it, the more fun people will have.
I completely agree. And I think that if you're lame enough to incite someone on a draft map, people should just shun you. You should not be able to play the server anymore, just not because the admins ban you, but because people think you're such a dick. And I think that as a community, if someone goes raidable or someone gets incited, we need to band together and help them get back on their feet. And we need to gear the fuck up them. I said that completely wrong. Gear them the fuck up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because, I love seeing that.
Yeah, because when Z passed on raidable, I immediately went to help the dude because that's what we should do as a community. Everyone should have immediately been like, okay, here's stuff. Here, take all my diamonds. Because, especially with this low of a player base, we really just need to be helpful to each other and nice.
Right. At the end of the day, play to have fun, not to ruin other people's experience.
Yeah, and I don't want this map to be like the kit map where it just gets mercy killed. I want this map to go on for a while and people make cool bases and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we still have that base building contest going. I know some people are taking part in it. I know Platypus is having a a field day, if I remember correctly, with what they're doing. So, there's a lot of good stuff coming, and from the players, the ones that have been on still. And I'd like to see more players really give the server a shot. I would like to see, like we had this conversation a week ago, if you see 20 players online, don't have the mentality of, I'm not going to get on, there's only 20 players online. Instead, be like, I'm going to get on because there's only 20 players online, and I'm going to see if I can get some other people on. Maybe that'll encourage other people to get on just because they see the numbers rising, and maybe we can actually take care of some stuff that we need to get done around the base, or help out some other people, or just hang out, stuff like that, instead of what it currently is with, oh, there's no fight, I'm not getting on. And that doesn't, there's, people claim to have fun on the server when they're fighting, but they get right back off. Well, the server's not going to be around if they only get on to play for, an hour and then get off because they only want to fight. That's just, there's no succeeding there. And it's more than just a kit arena type server. It's not even an arena type server, but it's more than just a kit server. It's HCF at its core. It's the original game, itself. And people always in the past had played it in the sense that this isn't just a PvP only game. This is I like to PvE. I'm playing this because it's Minecraft, and there's PvP. So I think if people can give 112 a chance, I think if people can give the server a chance and start playing to have fun instead of playing just for the small amount of PvP they get in once a day, it'll turn out a lot better. And I think the draft map will bolster that.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that there's too much of a PvP centric look on things right now. And I think that a lot of factions, I agree that a lot of people don't have time for Minecraft. And a lot of people don't have, hours to put on the server. And that's completely fine, But the people that do play Minecraft for hours, but they only get on PvP for 30 minutes, it's kind of like, is that all you see in the game? That's okay if that's all you see, but there's a lot more to it. And there's a lot of stuff you can do on the server. So to trash the server for being bad because you only want to get on for 30 minutes and just go to one fight isn't really fair. There's a lot to the server right now. I think that there's a lot of features that are really cool.
And a lot of features to come as well. And I think a big example of that is, I don't know if anyone's killed a Wither yet.
I heard one at Start of the World.
One, really? At start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because everyone thought the Ender Dragon died, but it was a Wither. That was the only one I've heard, though.
Okay, and I haven't seen a beacon, so someone might have, a beacon somewhere, but I haven't seen a beacon, and I haven't really seen any other Wither bosses, and that's a big deal. That's something you hear daily when the server's populated and people are playing for the game. You hear those Withers kick off, man. People are rushing to get those beacons. People are rushing to make traps outside their base. That's stuff that you're not seeing anymore because the mentality has gone away from, I'm going to play because it's a fun server, to I'm going to log in when my friend says there's a fight.
Yeah.
I remember in the past, you'd be in a league game because you're taking a break from HCF. Oh my God, there's a fight in the end. I'm leaving this league game to go fight in the end. Like that was the mentality. Like, sorry guys, good luck. Enjoy bot lane, like that was it. So hopefully we can get that back. And a lot of ideas we have for the future is to bring in people who want to play the server for the server. And the ideas that we have will really support that. And not just the people who want to get on to swing their sword and get right back off.
It should be more about community and about having fun. And I think that's what the game looks like it's going to be moving toward.
And that's our goal. That's our goal. And I would like to usher in the future of the server outside of just PvP. I'd like to get all walks of life in, and the PvPers will actually enjoy that. If we can get 300 players on who are interested in PvE and exploring this fact that they can create faction bases and groups, and there's a hardcore element to dying, then that's exciting for a new player, and that's exciting for PvPers because they can come on and like, oh my God, there's so many people on, I can go kill, and then that breeds the PvEers into PvPers, and then here we go again. If we can get that life cycle started again, we'll be in a good place.
I completely agree.
And we've had this conversation on the staff team before. Guru's goal is to see the server hit 1,000.
I would love to see that.
And I think if the community works with us, it's doable. You know, people are like, well, you're not advertising and everything like that. And I'm like, there's a lot to it than just saying, I'm going to throw money at this YouTuber who won't respond to me, so he makes a video for us. It's just not that easy. But I think we can really bolster our numbers and increase the playtime on the server and just overall fun just by the community alone. Word of mouth does so much more than anything else. And, you know, the server voting, for example, that I put up shows that we've gone from spot 2,200 something when I first put it up to under 950 on the rank list on that website, just by you guys continually going on and voting. And there's only been like 180 votes. Like, that's and a lot, you know, you can vote duplicate times, like once a day or something like that. And, you know, if everyone started really going after it, you'd see our server towards the top of the list, and people would just come in because they see it. You know, that's just one of the things we want to go for, is word of mouth, and not just because some guy made a video about it, not just because you're aware of what the name HCF means. You want to come on because it looks cool. You want to come on because the community looks super fun to be around, and that's got to be a team effort between the staff team and the community.
Very true. I think that the community needs to do some more maturing, and then we can be at a part where, like, we're good and we can grow. But it takes time.
Yes, it absolutely does, but I think we can do it. I think there's enough people still here who are willing to put forth the effort into that, and it's really not like hard work. It's more just, hey, this server's really fun. You guys kind of play Minecraft, or you play on this other server. Come play with me. Come hang out. You know, I go to a LAN tournament twice a year for Rocket League, and I've got a big group of guys who are super into Minecraft, and I told them about this, you know, what this server was, what it used to be, and they're like, dude, that sounds insane. Like, we need to find one of those. And I've let them know, hey, we're back. You know, the server is back. So come on, explore it for the first time. You know, get these first timers on, man. They'll get hooked.
I know I did.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, this game was insane. When I first found it, I was afraid to step 1 foot out my door. Like, I was like, nope, I'm going to die. And that was back when it was a 5-day hard death ban for dying.
I only played when it was 3, and I was still shook.
Yeah, even the 3 was just like, shit. Like, nope, I'm sitting at my house. If I see a nameplate outside the door, I'm logging out. And, you know, like, that's it. That is it. So, hopefully we can start working as a team and really get this taken care of. And, you know, I've said this to a couple people before as well, and the server is 100% what the community makes it. You know, we may be the ones managing it, but we're not going to put stuff in there that the community hates. We're not going to take stuff away that the community loves. The community decides what happens. So when people are sitting back saying, oh, why don't you guys do this? Or, you know, we're helpless, it's all on the staff team. There's a lot on us, but at the end of the day, we can only do as much as you guys will allow us to. So you guys really hold all the power.
Yeah, I feel like as long as we voice our opinions, stuff will be good.
Hope so. But I think that is a good time to wrap it up. We're near about 50 minutes right now.
Oh boy! All right, I need to give a shout out to Zpaps, Pokey, and Exo Katie 2005. They asked me to shout them out. Okay, I'm good.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks guys for jumping in this week, and I believe this Sunday will be our live stream that we're doing for the podcast, and anyone can come in and ask any question they want. We'll do our best to field them. Until then, yeah. Until then, just, you know, keep playing on the server, keep telling people about it, give us suggestions, modmail us, PM us, anything you need to get your voices heard. And yeah, go vote on the server. I'll put that link in the description as well. Get that server rank up. You know, it may seem silly and may seem like every other server is like, go vote for us. It's really a big deal. It's free advertisement just for you guys clicking a button. And so just keep on helping us out.
Yeah, that actually really does help. I know that personally.
Yeah, man, it's a pretty good place we're in, and so I feel good about the future. So I believe that'll be it for now, and yeah, until next time. See you guys.